Thinking of getting a Crimson Bellied Conure or just got one? Wondering how to look after them? This is the guide for you. Check out all these tips and tricks in this video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Crimson Bellied Conures and how to look after them. For this video, these guys are in their cages because I thought I'd film later on in the day while they're having their snacks, so it'd be nice and quiet and I could get everything out to you nice and smoothly. I would like to have them out because obviously it's nice to have the birds in the video, but it's still right there behind me in the background. So looking after Crimson Bellied Conures, in some ways it's much like looking after any other type of conure. So to start with, I thought I'd cover a little bit about diet and their cage setup very briefly because we've covered it in other videos and Sophie's got a dedicated guide for Crimson Bellies on her channel regarding that. So with regards to diet, they're very similar to a normal conure, green cheek. You want to give them a nice raw whole food diet. That means you want to give them plenty of veggies, sprouts, soaked items. Some seed is completely fine, a nice dry mix, lots and lots of variety. If you want to give some pellets, you can, but I would recommend it's only a very small proportion of their diet because, as you may have seen on our channel, we feel pellets are more of a supplement rather than a complete diet because there is no such thing as a complete diet. Let me leave you a video card now to explore that topic. With regards to cage sizing, you want a nice spacious cage, lots of space. Again, just because it's a small bird doesn't need a small space, especially with Crimson Bellies, they need lots of space to explore and enjoy. So the bigger cage you can get, the better. Lots of shreddable toys, lots of things to destroy because they will love to destroy things. Maybe a toy bowl, a foraging bowl, lots of fun things in there for them to enjoy. I've got loads of guides, videos on cage setup you can explore, but that's the general thing you want to be going on. Also, make sure your bowls are nice and high up and they have plenty of perches to choose to rest on and explore around because that's very important for them to be able to get that movement and extra exercise while they're inside. Now, let's move on to the more important stuff, and that is Crimson Bellies' personalities. Crimson Bellied Conures are somewhat different to other conure species in their personality. Obviously, you have their appearance, all that sort of stuff, but their personality is very different. They are a lot more boisterous. I would say they're more intelligent, more inquisitive, and generally a lot naughtier. They're also much more likely to bite, and they will bite harder. They are, I hate to use the word, but it's the easiest word to use because I think it's a bit harsh, but it's true. They're quite erratic. One moment they will be completely content cuddling with you, really relaxed and happy, and then something will change in the environment you may not be aware of, and they'll be lashing down to you. And those bites do hurt, and they hurt a lot more than a green cheek because their beak is a lot more powerful and stocky. So do be aware of that when you have them, that they can be a bit more unpredictable and you will have to do a lot more work and training with them, and even then you may still get bitten. Now, saying that, just because they have this erratic side doesn't mean they can't make really good companions and pets. They're really super intelligent and they're highly motivated for food. If your conures on the right, your Crimson Bellied Conures on the right diet, they will work and work for food, and they will continue to do so, and it can be lots of fun to train them. Their intelligence does have downsides. They can work out how to be naughty, how to just go directly to the source of the food, for example the bowl, rather than taking it from you, so you have to be very mindful of that. You can use that high food motivation to your advantage when you're training out behaviours such as biting or generally redirecting and dealing with some of the more troublesome things that comes with these guys. They do need lots of training as well, and I don't mean lots of training just because it's convenient for us, but for mental stimulation. Just like I said with the toys and stuff in their cage, they need lots of training interaction with you. They're highly social. I would say they're even more social than green cheeks, who love to cuddle, love to be with other birds. Crimson Bellies need that companionship, need that extra attention, which means if you are out a lot, I wouldn't necessarily recommend a Crimson Belly. You know, they need constant attention, otherwise they get very stressed and very bored, and you do see plucking more often in Crimsons than other species of conures. And just in case you're watching this video and you think they're a mutation of green cheeks, they're not, they're a completely different species. So do be mindful of this when you get one. As I said, if you do have one, be prepared to spend lots of time with them and potentially work through some issues. I have heard of some absolutely lovely, cuddly Crimsons, but even then, when I've talked to their owners to get more research about them rather than just going by our own experiences, you have those moments where they get overexcited and they bite. The overstimulation zone for a green cheek is quite small, where they're excited and they get overstimulated and start biting. For a Crimson, it's even smaller. They're like mini cockatoos, that would be the best analogy. And just to lead on, so I'm talking about them needing attention. You can mix them with other birds. They are very highly social, so generally you want another crimson if you can, that is ideal. However, we have found they get on exceptionally well with green cheeks and other conure species as well, and you'll find this through most experiences. They will mix well if you go through the proper bonding experience, all the bonding exercises. I have a video on bonding two birds, we'll leave a card for now. If you do the proper work, they will get on with other conures very well. And we've got two perfect examples. Louis and Kipling get on amazingly. Just the perfect pair for each other, really. And we bonded Olive and Charlie, who also are very happy together. But, here's always the but. Even if you do all that work and training, they are very boisterous. So you may find they bully another conure and you may have to work through those behaviours. You will find they get overstimulated and you'll have to do lots of reinforcing and calm work. So you have to be kind of on the ball even then. But if you can't get another crimson belly and you have a green cheek or whatever, then a crimson belly green cheek combo will work perfectly well. So let's talk about other parrots and them. I would not ever recommend mixing them with larger parrots, because one, someone's going to get hurt. Even a crimson belly's going to have a go at them, or vice versa. If you have lots and lots of space, they have their own territories, you probably get away with it. And I wouldn't recommend mixing them with other species like cockatiels and budgies. It can work in certain situations, especially if there's a large aviary setup. But in the home setting, because there's not many crimson bellies around, I haven't had too many examples, but I've had a few examples where there's been some major damage done to a bird. And because cockatiels are quite timid, they're going to end up on the worst end of it, so it's better just to have the crimson belly out on their own or with other conures. So we talked a bit about diet cage setup, talked a bit about how they interact with other birds and the training requirements. Let's talk about more interaction with us. Now, they need lots of interactions with us, you need to do lots of training, we've already covered that. However, they are quite cuddly as well. And the problem you have when they want to cuddle is one moment they want to cuddle, next minute they want to bite. So you kind of need to pick up your crimsons like little signs and cues very quickly. So I thought I'd talk a bit about their behaviour towards us. So generally, a crimson will kind of get a stare on. It will like stare, and then you know that a bite's coming. Another tell when they're a bit stressed is they will start preening their belly repetitively in almost a stereotypical motion. They also have a sound that sounds like good, and we often think that good, good, good is actually a positive sound. But for crimsons, it can be overstimulated. It can also be a sign of stress. So if your crimson's constantly saying good, good, it's not saying good, it's potentially telling you that it's uncomfortable with the situation or very excited. With regards to their behaviour as well, you will also find that they will vocalise a lot. And people say they're quiet again, which I wouldn't necessarily agree with. They can be quiet sometimes, but most of the time they're not. Vocalisation can be another good sign that they're getting very overstimulated and you're going to get bitten very shortly. So just like with green cheeks, you want to keep your interactions calm where possible. You want to be observing, filming interactions where possible with your crimson belly and learning all about them as quickly as you can, basically, because then it will set you up for success in the future, because if you've got their diet right, you've got their cage set up right, they're getting their usual sleep that all birds need, you're doing training with them, interaction. Once you start nailing those environmental factors, those little tells, then your relationship will improve by leaps and bounds and you'll just be much happier being with them and they'll be much happier being with you. Now, just to sort of round off this video, I thought I would just talk about general crimson traits or things that we noticed that are not just anecdotal to us but across the board. And I've talked about all the behaviour ones, let's talk about other things. Generally, they are very sweet beaks. They love their juices, they love their fruits. Be mindful of how much you give fruit to them. However, you can use it as a training tool, or if you want to motivate them, or just give them a bit of variety in diet. Remember, crimsons are only quite small, so you don't want to be giving them any more than maybe a grape a day. Not hundreds of them, not loads of them, just a single one, and that'll be enough cut up into pieces. Similarly with training treats and foraging, you want to be providing lots of foraging activities to keep them busy so they're having lots of natural stimulation and fun. Other sort of behavioural tells and aspects that they have, they absolutely love bathing and they will tell you when they want to bathe. If there's water running, they may get overstimulated and bite you. That may be a good indicator that your crimson wants to go and have a bath. You may also notice that they may try and do it in their water dish. That's completely fine. If you want to, you can provide them something separate in their cage to do so with, but generally you're going to find that they're very vigorous bathers. Green cheeks, cockatiels can be, but crimsons will splash water absolutely everywhere. Our kitchen's often soaked because our crimsons like to bathe in there, and it's quite funny to see. I may have mentioned this already, but it's important to reinforce they're very inquisitive. They will go places they shouldn't. So you need to be able to basically have that training in place. So they'll step up, come to you when you need them to. You don't want them getting into any harm or danger or endangering other pets or animals in your house. That inquisitive nature can be lots of fun, and you can create all sorts of fun games to play with them. For example, me and Kipling have a peekaboo game where he yells and I go back and forth. These are all fun ways you can interact with your Crimson, and while it may get them excited, if you do it for a short period and then give them a bit of time to cool down, you can get away with basically getting them overexcited and then calming them down again, so they just don't get to that point of overstimulated. Crimsons do like to lead on to a step up with their beak, so make sure you're doing the proper step up protocol, otherwise you are going to get bitten constantly. They can be very attached to fabrics as well. I noticed recently that our Crimson will bite my fabric much more than my bare hands, so I'm enduring getting my hands out a bit more because it tends to be a theme with them, that fabrics get them overexcited. Like Conures as well. Burrowing behaviour, initially playful, going to dark crevices is a sign of hormonal behaviour, so do be aware of that. You want to kind of be mindful of how much you let your Crimsons explore dark crevices. If they're doing it for a bit of fun and you're not noticing any hormonal behaviour, it's okay for a limited amount. If they do it a lot, then you really need to stop it and find something else fun to do. Last thing I want to mention again, I sort of covered cuddling already, but cuddling is something they do like to do. They will beak a lot when cuddling, so it's something you need to work on through reinforcing the calm and redirection. But it is okay to cuddle them as long as you're doing it appropriately. You know, Kipling loves what Sophie calls the smush, and I've been able to do it with him recently after a lot of training. That's basically just petting him on the head. He absolutely adores it. Again, you do have that worry that he may flip, but now that we're sort of seeing what's leading up to it, we can pet him a lot more safely. If you're worried about it, the best way to start with your Crimson is training petting through the bars. Just petting them above their nose, not on their beaks, again, sometimes hormonal, just above their nose, getting them used to that. Then you can get them used to being touched and in the petting motion. And Kipling constantly comes up to the bars, loves being petted. Another thing I noticed about Crimsons, they love their bedtime routine. It's worth keeping a bedtime routine with birds, although you want to have some sort of flexibility and other stuff. But Crimsons are quite attached to their routines. A lot of them will like to sort of have a little treat before bed or a vocalisation. Conditioned calm works really well with them, so do keep these in mind as well. So guys, I hope you found this video useful on Crimsons. It maybe gave you a bit more insight into them. Don't forget, I've got my sort of general Crimson Belly guide on my channel. We have loads of Crimson Belly shorts you can explore. Sophie's got her sort of guide to just looking after them, all encompassing, on her channel as well. But if you have any comments, feel free to drop them down below. In the meantime, take care and see you later.